Hello and welcome to Enterprise Weekend. I am Henry Igwebiki.
And I'm Chinyere Igwe Odu.
Children, how are you today?
Oh, well, I can be better, really.
It can be better. Yes, and I think this, draws us to a very, popular news that made the headline of a film instructor who did what he labeled as a marathon swimming from one end of the Third Mainland Bridge to the other, just to create awareness on mental, issues amongst Nigerians. And the reason he was doing that was to, tell people that whatever mental state you find yourself, the best you can do is not to, plunge into the Third Mainland Bridge as an option, but to get someone you can talk to. I don't know, especially as it concerns the state of the nation today.
Harry, so I saw that story, and allow me to say that for me, having people to speak to, resorting to taking your life, because of what you're going through, can be traced to parenting. If you have the right parenting, I know that we don't learn everything at home. We socialize, we read books, we meet people, and then we pick up a lot of things, right? But again, it's a broad spectrum, because when you say find people to speak to when you're going through things, sometimes I need to trust you, have some level of trust in you, Henry, to be able to say, okay, so this is what I'm going through, right? You don't just meet people and start telling them what you go through, because not everybody is a safe space. Some people can just look for who the next person to share it with. And I mean, this is so delicate to you. I'm telling you because I feel I trust you, and I feel I just want to let out my my pain. And then the next thing you're telling another person, I've had issues. I've had scenarios where someone who had like an underlying health issues shared with a friend, and then the next thing, that friend is telling everybody, okay, this person has HIV. So when you hear such experiences, it sort of puts you in that place where you're not willing to even speak to anyone.
To speak to people.
Right. So people just tend to mask and masquerade their pain. It's a lot, really. I feel this should actually act as a clarion call for us to focus more on our mental health. Whatever space you are in, say marriage, work, whatever it is that you're not comfortable with, keep choosing yourself, Henry.
Very true. Very, very true. Let's move on to our main conversation for today. And this is what it is. Barely 2 days after the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NAC, approved an increase of electricity tariff for customers and under the Band A classification, the federal government on Friday hinted that a similar measure would be extended to others.
Speaking at a briefing in Abuja, Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu said the recent increase in electricity tariff is a pilot in phasing out of electricity subsidy in the country. He said the government plans to remove all subsidies in the sector to allow the thriving of investment in the power sector.
Yes, the minister added that the 225 naira kilowatts per hour Band A customers are charged as little relative to the 500 naira they pay for alternative energy like diesel and others.
While explaining that Nigeria is experiencing a subsidy pricing regime where the government provides a large portion of the generation, transmission and distribution cost, he said the government was formerly subsidizing 67% of the cost of electricity.
Yes, so that's what we have for today, and to help us make sense of this big story is Dr. Vance Ufele. He is a barrister at law and also public affairs. Commentator, good morning to you, barrister.
Good morning.
Good morning,
and welcome to Enterprise Weekend today.
Thank you.
Right, so let's get into the meaty part of our discussion. It was a couple of days back we had discussed about this electricity tariff and its consequences on Nigerians, especially small business people. But still the burning question is, while we are still grasping with what has been made possible from the government, they are coming to add salt to injury by saying this is not just but the beginning. What is happening to our government structure in Nigeria?
Well, I think this is insensitive, very insensitive. And at the National Assembly, this was debated. And the National Assembly, part of the argument was that the president must intervene on the issue because the hike is too much. It's over 200%.
Yeah.
Even if you have to increase, you don't increase at that rate. In civilized countries, they don't increase 200% at once. Something must be wrong with you to do that, no matter the cost you are paying. Now, from the analysis, we have been told that the federal government before now have been subsidizing 67%
Okay.
of what it is for generation and distribution and all that. So why has the government suddenly decided not to? Why is the government taking up the subsidy from power and fuel at the same time, and then turning the economy on its head? So it is a government that is insensitive to the plight of the people. That is what it means. And those who oppose it at the House of Assembly, they are doing so well to the effect that there must be a reversal. The electricity company, it's even the NERC, okay, that made the announcement. Okay, the place where we are now is that there must be some level of resistance from the citizens, not just the National Assembly. The citizens, because we have been told clandestinely that it's only for the badge, is it class A or badge A, they call them, and all that. But this is how we got here. You know, when they want to introduce a hike, they look for something subtle to diffuse the severity in the heart of people that it does not apply to you. It only applies to those in A. As if you that is in B, C, and E gets constant power supply. You don't. So, I mean, it applies to everybody, technically speaking. I mean, those who are in E don't get up to 4 hours light in a day.
Yeah.
So, but you are making it look like those in E are in a safe place on this regime. That no, it's only those who are affected are the ones in A. So that those who are in E will say, thank God we are not affected. As if you are having like, you understand? So it tells you that our government is insensitive. You see, generation and distribution of power, electricity all over. No, there's no country that is sane that is still talking about electricity and power. Most countries, you know, had in the 70s left that level a long time ago. Many countries in the world, I know. Even countries that had independence with Nigeria at the same time left that level in the 70s. We are grappling with that. Every time you have election campaign and all that, they'll be telling you that we'll give you power.
Electricity, roads,
we'll give you electricity. Now they made it look like electricity is one giant infrastructure. You know, under classification of need, electricity is under basic amenities.
Really?
Meaning that it should not be an issue. Because it's basic like, it's like clothing. They are all at the same level. Housing, clothing, they are basic amenities. So if you are having light even 24 hours in a day, it's not an achievement.
All right.
But here, it looks like a very powerful achievement. So those who are in A can turn around and start to say, you are in E, we are in A.
I'm better off.
We are all the same because we are not having anything.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Evans. I think the federal government has a dissenting view to your stance. I mean, you have referred to this as insensitive, but I'll quickly take your attention to what the minister said. So he said that the reason for this is because he said government plans to remove all subsidies in the sector to allow the thriving of investment in the power sector. Can you help us put this in context?
To allow the thriving of investors in the power sector at the expense of who? I mean, this thing they come and say all the time. It's not. I don't believe that anytime you want to have a transition from one policy to the other, the citizens must be the one to sacrifice for it in all sector. I don't believe so. I don't think so. The reason they unbundled NEPA at that time was because they wanted a situation where private investors will come and invest in it. Okay, so why didn't you do it holistic? Why is the federal government still holding a part of it? You, just like the telecommunications, you and I know what we went through when Nitel was the only national carrier that we had then. You know, I remember then University of Jos, I would wake up around 6 to go and queue on the phone booth. Gen Z, they don't understand.
Very true. Very true.
I would go and queue, long line with the Nitel card.
Yeah, exactly.
And that United card with you, when it gets to your turn, and you slot it and you start, somebody must be at home there to pick it. If there's nobody to pick it, you will leave the queue like that and go back home. You understand? So for in school, we'll call, try. There's the one that use coins. You put the coins in, then you dial to ring at the other end. So it's not a very easy thing. But what happened? They decided to unbundle it. Investors came in. The likes of all the mobile network came in. And before you know it, that space is open. The problem is solved. You understand? Now, even if they want to increase price, they have to go through NCE. You understand? I mean, the corridor. But for the past how many years, the price have been stable.
True.
You understand? Yeah. This is how it is in the West, in civilized countries. Price will be stable for a very long time. And if you want to increase, it will not be more than $2 or 2 cents or something. You understand? That's how it does. But here, you just wake up one morning and say, you know what? We need investors to come and... The government, they are talking like they are daft. Because you want investors to come into a sector. Therefore, the citizens must be sacrificed for that. So how long will you do that? If you do it in electricity, you do it in fuel subsidy, you do it everywhere. So who will be left for you to govern? There will be nobody left to govern. Yes, because you have strangled everybody. And while you are doing that shamelessly, your minimum wage for this same citizen you are talking about is nothing to write home about. So is that no contradiction? So I don't believe in this because people want to invest. Why didn't they do it proper? Instead of them to even allow the investors to come in when they open the listing, they just balkanized it and shared it to friends. That's what they did. Shared it to friends, ex-military, this, that, this, shared the whole thing. And now, government is still holding a stake there. How would you say you have unbundled electricity and government is still paying subsidy of 67 naira? How? What did you do? It's like saying the government is still paying for telecommunications till now. Is government paying any money there? The government is generating from the so why didn't you adopt that model?
All right,
so
let's look at this from the prism of leadership style. You know, Muhammad Buhari was there for 8 years, and just like you did say, we had a very long shelf time when we enjoyed a particular regime of tariff, you know, without unnecessary increase. And Bola Ahmed Tinubu has come into play. Now, the question is, could this be more as a result of personal leadership style? Now, let's go back to Lagos State when there was a rift between Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Olusegun Obasanjo, and he adopted a style of generating, you know, revenue from the state itself to take care of the state, and that he has used as a campaign to say this is the same he would do for Nigeria. Now, is it possible to trail that back to a personal leadership style from Bola Ahmed Tinubu on increasing?
I don't think it's a personal leadership style. But by the way, there was increase during Buhari's regime for tariff about 4 times. While Buhari was there, there were increases they made. Those increments were also, the excuses were there all over the place and all that. I remember the first time we had our own prepaid meter. What we were being charged then was so minute that if you put a 10,000 naira in it, then it was taking us about 3 months. You understand? So I don't think it has to do with leadership style. I think it's about not knowing what to do, being insensitive, not knowing that the people have a stake in the governance of their country, not knowing that the security and welfare of the people is the primary purpose of government. You cannot begin to take off every intervention. You cannot begin to take them off. Every intervention that the people have, the government have to cushion the effect of price. You cannot take them all up at once. That's not how it is done. You cannot lead people like that. You understand? So government must continue to pay for the welfare of our citizens. That's how it is all over the world. Government cannot run away from it. That's the reason the citizens pay tax. And you know, we have a very huge revenue generation from tax. From VAT alone. I can give you the figures. I'm not with my laptop here. I'll give you the figures for VAT only that we rake in, not talk about personal income tax, company income tax, and all other levies, petroleum income tax. You understand? So we have a huge country with huge revenue. Perhaps not to take all of us to the moon or the galaxies to live, but we have enough to feed ourselves, organize this country, develop it to a first world nation. We have enough to do so.
All right. So speaking of having enough to do so, I like that you have submitted inter alia government's failure and deficits of knowing what to do. When Tinubu removed subsidy, some people said it was an impetuous decision. Now we are seeing that subsidy is also being removed from the power sector. As a solution-centric person, tell us what you think that the government should have done. In the case of subsidy, they failed woefully because structures were not in place to cushion the effect. Now it's replicated in the power sector. What do you think the solution or elixir should be at this time the government should adopt to ensure that removal of subsidies in power sector will not completely kill the people? I mean, chicken is going for 5,500, about 6,000 per kilo. This is going to definitely take people out of business.
A cup of rice is 500 now. Cup 500.
It's 1,200. Which of the cups?
No, I'm talking about the small cup.
Okay.
The cup.
Yeah.
You're talking about the other
Yes.
cup.
The weaker.
See, what government should do first to do away with this national grid thing? It is obsolete. National grid, everybody's plugged into one. So no, it's not done like that anymore. Let the government take that out. They will do that gradually. Then part of your question has been answered by the Buhari's government because the government has signed in power generation and distribution for states. Even individuals can also generate
power
for communities, streets, communities, towns. You can do that, but now the states have refused to come up with the legal frameworks. When the federal government passes a law, the state have to domesticate it.
Okay.
Yes, that's what the attorney generals of these various states in Nigeria advise your government, get the legal framework and domesticate this thing. Yesterday, we were told that 12 states are coming together.
Yes, true.
Why not? So that's actually the solution. And they are coming to do that because of the hike and looking at the fact that the power not to succumb to that had been given to them by legislation.
Okay.
The power not to succumb to what you are using now, it's just laziness and convenience. We don't want to go and work on the legal framework. You already have the authority to do so. Work on the legal framework, and then that is where the solution is. Because once the state starts to generate, what that means technically is that they are pulling out from the national grid.
Okay.
Yes, everybody will be pulling out. Those who want to remain there can remain there and be paying this one that they're saying 200% increase. You understand? Those who want to remain there, they can remain there if they want. But once you have the legal framework, people will begin to pull out. Then if a particular state can decide that, Adamawa, for example, they can decide that they're going to go all solar. Because the intensity of energy in Adamawa and some other places, even in Obudu, the energy in Obudu is even cold. You understand? Places like Enugu, you can generate from other sources, cold, mineral resources. So you can decide the one you want to do. And the state government will not be the one responsible. The state government can now decide to get investors to come in, but the state government will regulate the price. You understand? So that is the solution to the problem. But if we want to continue on this trajectory that the whole country is plugged in one plug, and then the high tension that's supposed to carry the power and all that generation, they are weak. Most of them were installed in the 70s and the 80s. They cannot carry heavy load. And the 70s and 80s when they were installed, our population was quite minimal. Now we have hit 220 million. So we are not in a place where in anything we do, we should all be plugged to one source. Anything we do, including governance, including derivation, including mining and mineral resources. So we should have a true federal state where every state has powers to electricity, even defense at the state level. The federal government will not take territorial defense. You understand? So that's the solution to the problem. If we want to continue to keep all of us in one place with our bad attitude, with ethnicity, religion, and division, we will not get anywhere.
But on a lighter note, do you think we are ready for nuclear? Nuclear power as a form of generation?
We are, because I mean, there's between Kwale and Asaba and Delta State, they have the highest deposit of uranium
Really?
in the whole of Africa. So I mean, Niger survived today by uranium. That's yes, uranium is what it does, and the French buys from them. Now that military has taken over, they've opened the space and they are selling to whoever is interested. So we have uranium, we have bitumen, we have iron ore, we have all these deposits. So nothing stops us from having constant power supply in our village. And let me tell you, the population of people in Nigeria that are in the city is quite lower than the people in the village. I don't know now you know that. The population of people in the city, the five major cities, it's not up to 40% of Nigerian population.
True, very true.
So the main place you supply power in the village is where there are no companies. They don't take much. All they need maybe is to charge their phone and to
exactly, just lighting
and all that. So why are we not doing the right thing?
Very true. Well, there's this issue of power has been a perennial issue from childhood. I can still remember very vividly, that catch word, when the electricity is restored, and every child, shouts, NEPA, has become, ingrained in our lives. And even if, we say it just to laugh over it, I don't think it is a great thing for a nation like ours.
It's quite unfortunate, Henry. I remember my last baby, once I turn on the touch on my phone, she goes up in the back because, as you said, it's deeply entrenched. But, let me just, say, I like what the analyst said. He said, why are we not doing the right thing? And this should actually cut across board in our homes, in our relationships. Why aren't we doing the right thing?
Very true, very true. Well, that's just about the size of our package today. I'd love to say thank you to Barrister Evans for being part of our show today. It was really indeed an engaging discussion with you. So we'd love to equally want to thank you for making our time for being part of our show today. Please do well to visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Like, comment and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igwibike.
And I'm Chinyere Igwe. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye from us.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.